Alright, Goodreads, let's see what you think are the best books that I've read. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew, and today guys, what we are doing here on the channel today is my highest rated books that I have read according to Goodreads. But before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow, and you can check the description box down below for links to the Discord, links to my Amazon wishlist, links to my Pango books, and a link to the Patreon if you want to help support the channel in a little bit more of a substantial way, while also getting access to some exclusive content. It's always just greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, we're going to set some ground rules for this video. And essentially, in order to make the list, I didn't want to just have 3 series on this list, because like Cradle, very highly rated. Stormlight Archive, very highly rated. Dungeon Crawler Carl, very highly rated. And I didn't want it to be just a top 10 list of those 3 series. So it's going to be the highest rated entry in any given series. And then it also had to have at least 50 ratings to make the list, to make sure that it's not like, oh, there's 5 ratings on something and they're all 5 stars. Well, then that book holds a 5-star rating, but it's really only a sample of 5 people. And so I feel like 50 was a nice safe margin to just kind of give a more diverse score. But of the 10 that I have listed, 4.6 rating and above with a 50 plus rating. Now I know some people do 100 plus rating, but I got tired of scrolling because I read a lot of self-pub, and self-pub tends to not have as many eyes on these series as they deserve. So there's not as much self-pub on here, which makes me sad, but there is some. So top of the list, I almost dropped some books, is Divinity's Twilight Remnant. I almost said Rebirth, which is book 1, but this is Remnant by Christopher Russell. I love this book, and so to have this at the number 1, which these are all in order according to Goodreads, when I set the filters and all that stuff, this is the highest rated book that I have read with 50 plus ratings. And it's phenomenal. It's a great book. We've got a small group of basically young adults in exile. Their country's been conquered. They've joined the rebel army and they are fighting back. And it is a struggle. It is a desperate fight. So to see this one at the top of the list really shocked me, but I'm also really pleased that it's there. I agree that this is a fantastic book. Up next is going to be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, because I actually prefer the 3rd book in this series, but this one is higher rated on Goodreads. And I still gave it 5 stars, but I like Oathbringer more. And that's Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive, Words of Radiance. It's been a long time since I've read Stormlight Archive, so I'm due for a reread, especially since we're getting the closing of the first arc next year. And so maybe my mind will be changed once I do a reread here. But I'm not upset that it's, Words of Radiance is more highly rated than Oathbringer. I knew that because it's a little bit more of a divisive book. But yeah, no, I'm also not a huge Shallan stan, and there's a lot of Shallan in this book. So maybe that's why I don't love it quite as much. But who knows, maybe on my reread I will enjoy it even more. But again, if it has to be a Stormlight book, at least it's not Rhythm of War, because very mixed on Rhythm of War. And then, of course, you knew there was going to be some Dungeon Crawler Carl. And surprising me, maybe it's because this one's the newest one, but it's I, the Babel Bride. And this is the newest Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is book number 6. And I liked this one. It wasn't a favorite of mine. It was probably like closer to a 4.5 out of 5 star for me. But I mean, I gave it 5 stars because, Goodreads doesn't have a nuanced rating system. But, I mean, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of complaints. The audio had Patrick Warburton and Travis Baldry on it when it really didn't need him. Jeff Hayes is amazing god-tier narrator as is, and he could have 100% handled those parts. So those extra narrators were just kind of flavor. I mean, the reason I'm talking about the narration in terms of the rating is, like, the books are good, but the narration elevates that experience to god-tier level. Like, it's just so incredibly good. So the fact that there is a Dungeon Crawler Carl at the number 3 slot still makes me incredibly happy. Now, at the number 4 slot, we have And I don't know if this surprises me or not, but we do have a Cradle book, and it is Winter Steel. And basically, this is the end of the Uncrowned King tournament arc, and I liked that arc. And I think, yeah, Uncrowned. Is Uncrowned book 7? Yeah, Uncrowned is book 7. That one ends on a cliffhanger, so I could see why that one wasn't as highly rated as this one. And this has one of my favorite subplots in it, which is it's all about points. And I love that subplot. We get to see Lyndon go a little bit crazy. And so, yeah, okay. If Winter Steel has to be one of the highest rated on Goodreads, I'm mostly okay with that. Although my favorite, I think, was the last book, and that's Waybound. I had to go look, because names just out of my brain. The 5th book, halfway through the list, and this is one I'm actually super happy is on the list. It's Superpowered's Year 4. And if you know anything about Superpowered's, it's an incredibly long book, especially Year 4. Like, they can't print a paperback for Year 4. Like, it just exceeds the requirements. But, oh, what a ride. All of the mysteries get solved. I'm very happy. I agree with this rating. It's such a good book. And, yeah, no, it's amazing. And I think it is probably one of my... Although, like, all of Superpowered's, like, if you would put any of the Superpowered's, like, I guess Year 1's a bit slow. Core Piece is a bit of a side story, but all of Superpowered's, everything in that world that Drew Hayes did, mwah, I love it. It's just so beautiful. It's so good. So, yeah, no, I'm very happy that Superpowered's makes this list. Next up is one I don't agree with. It's number 6, and this is Horsemen. Nate Temple, number 10. And I gotta tell you, I don't remember this book. And I have it listed at 5 stars, which I believe I went in and dropped my rating. And if I haven't, I'm going to drop my rating because I don't remember anything about Horsemen in particular. The whole series is just kind of blended into chaos. And I remember the subplot of the Horsemen, but I don't remember the title, Horsemen. And the fact that makes my number 6 kind of irritates me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's not a bad series. It actually starts out super strong. And then they realize that, like, the author realizes that he's made his protagonist too powerful. So he nerfs him, then jumps the shark, and then nerfs him again. And so it's kind of a messy series. So I'm surprised to see Nate Temple in this list. But I'm not mad that I read it. Like, it was fun and entertaining while I was reading it. But I don't remember anything about it. And then up next is one I'm going to catch flack from either Evie or Terry if they watch this video. And this is Assassin's Fate. This is number 7 on the list. And this book, I gave it 3 stars. A generous 3 stars. This is the final book in what exists in the realm of the Elderlings currently. I think I saw that Robin Hobb is slowly writing a 17th book. But I thought the execution of this book was so poor. It's got great character moments. If you're a fan of the series, it's got a lot of fan service. It's got a lot of stuff that fans of the series are going to like. But in terms of being an actual book, I disagree. I don't think this deserves to be in the top 10. I unhauled this book. I was not happy with the conclusion of the story. Specifically, the execution of it. Hobb does a lot of things with the characters to force a certain situation, and it's just clunky. And it could have, I think Hobb is a good enough writer that she could have done better. So that's just my thoughts there, and I know I'm going to catch some flack for it, but it is what it is. I'm being honest. So I don't agree with that in this list. Next up is number 8, Mother of Learning, arc number 4. And when I saw this, I actually dropped the book a star. Because I had it listed at 5 stars, and the more I think about it, the book is more of a 4-star read. Because, honestly, the highest moments in the series come before book 4. And don't get me wrong, there's some explosive moments, and we get a lot of resolution in arc 4, but what really is kind of irritating to me in arc 4 and why it lost a star is we don't get to see, because it's a progression fantasy, we don't get to see a lot of what Zorian learns and powers up through on the page. It's just kind of happens in the background, like we're told, hey, this might happen, or hey, I'm gonna go work on that. And then we never see him actually progress. It just jumps straight to the I now have that power. In certain things, we see the progression throughout the series, but I think the series could have shown the progression a little bit better than what it did. And I couldn't tell you how, other than the fact that, like, by the end, one of the last confrontations, it just kind of happens. So there's nothing I could point at and go like, oh, that was terrible. It just resolves. And so for that reason, I dropped it a star, even though I still really enjoyed the whole experience. I'm going to be buying the physical copies when they go on order for Kickstarter, because I have to have them on my shelf. But yeah, that's just how I feel about those. Then next, we have got Lily by Daniel Barnett. And the fact that this was able to make the list pleases me so much. This book is amazing. I'm actually acknowledged in the back of this book because I was I got to do some beta reading on it, and I am just so grateful that Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative recommended the series to me, and that Daniel's been such a friend to the channel. And I love this book. It is pulse pounding. It is heartrending. It is dark. It is messed up. It is one of my favorite horror books that I've ever read, and I can't wait for the next arc in the Nightmareland Chronicles, because I don't know what Daniel's gonna do, but we're gonna see. This book was amazing. Oh, so good. And then the final book that we have here is one that I'm not sure I would have picked this one. I would have actually picked the first book in this series. So this is Revenge by A.C. Cobble. This is Warhite book number 2. And I liked this book and I found it entertaining. I just didn't find it quite as gripping as I found Conspiracy. I thought Conspiracy was just really, really good. And so if I could swap this book with any book, or within the series, because only the first 3 books are out. I'm still waiting to receive my 3rd book on Kickstarter. But I would probably have chosen Conspiracy instead of Revenge. But that is the top 10 books, highest rated books that I have read according to Goodreads. I did the research. It wasn't a lot of research, just set some filters, set a couple ground rules, and rolled the dice and saw what came up. I'm a little surprised on some of them. I would have thought some other books, that like Boy's Life or Warlord Chronicles, would have probably made the list. And then, of course, a lot of my favorite self-pub just didn't quite have the ratings yet to make a list under the 50 rating rule. So that made me sad. But yeah, no, I've read quite a lot of great books since joining BookTube. So if I do this again, it'll probably be in 2 to 3 years, so I'm still making content. And I'll be interested to see what that list looks like then. That's all I really got for today, guys. So till next time. Peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for helping support my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.